welcome back to my channel. If you are new, welcome. If you are an old subscriber, welcome back to my channel. My name is Felicia Mufa and this is Delicious Health and Maternity. If you just saw my live, please don't forget to like, comment and subscribe and share with a loved one. So today we are talking about postpartum depression. So I actually did a live video about this 3 days ago, and then unfortunately I was uploading a video which was refusing to upload, and I was trying to delete that particular video to upload it again. But whilst I was trying to delete that video, I unfortunately deleted the live video, so we have to do it again. So postpartum depression is a very important topic. I think every woman should know about this and everyone should know about this, especially in Ghana and in Africa here. Okay, give me the microphone. Give me the other one too. Oh, let's see. Maybe Aliona have braided her hair. I tried braiding it. Sorry, I tried braiding it today, but I think I'll have to remove it because.
Let the baby say away the microphone.
Baby say hello guys, welcome to my mommy's YouTube channel. My name is baby Aliona. So if you just saw this live, please don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. Okay, we'll take the baby to Annie. When you finish, you come and take a bottle, okay? If you just joined my live, please don't forget to comment, like and subscribe. Okay, so I've written everything here. So what is postpartum depression? Postpartum depression is a depression that mothers go through after childbirth. This typically arises from the combination of hormonal changes, psychological adjustment to motherhood, and postnatal depression and fatigue. Postpartum depression is a depression that mothers go through after childbirth. This typically arises from the combination of hormonal changes, psychological adjustment to motherhood, and postnatal depression and fatigue. So postpartum depression is something that really happens in like everywhere in the world. It happens in Africa, Europe, everywhere. Asia, it happens everywhere. But in Africa, we perceive it as laziness, as spiritual issue, like and so many others. We don't acknowledge it as a depression or as a postpartum depression. We see it as spiritual or laziness. My microphone is on a low battery. So I don't know guys if you can see me. Let me use my other phone to watch and see if you can hear my voice well. Please, if you cannot hear my voice, please leave a comment below and let me know. Okay, let's continue then. Okay, so let's continue. Postpartum depression, women who go through postpartum depression after birth get strong feeling of sadness. They get anxiety, like worrying. They get tired, which typically lasts long after childbirth. Okay, now I know that the volume is working. All right. Some women also experience baby blues after childbirth. Some of the baby blues are crying, like spells of crying, like crying constantly for no reason, crying for no reason at all. Like, said you just be crying like that for no reason. This is a sign of postpartum depression. Anxiety, worrying for nothing, difficulty in sleeping, having struggling to sleep, which was something I was going through, and then mood changes. I think mood changes usually happen during pregnancy. Like 90% of women have mood swings when they are pregnant. And postpartum depression affects about 15% of women. Now let's talk about the psychological aspect of postpartum depression. One is feelings of guilt. Women who are going through this feel guilty for feeling the way they are feeling, which is actually not their fault. They feel guilty for feeling the way they are feeling. And number two is frequent crying. Like I said earlier, crying for no reason, always crying for no reason. You may be going through postpartum depression. Number three is shame and guilt. Like I mentioned earlier, shame and guilt, feeling ashamed of the way they are feeling, though it's not their fault, because it is the responsibility of the mother to take care of the baby, and the mother should be feeling happy after she have delivered the baby, but it's quite the opposite. So the mother will feel guilty for feeling the way she's feeling, but it's not even her fault. It's not even her fault for feeling this way. It's because of the hormonal changes, psychological adjustment to motherhood, and postnatal depression and fatigue, which is causing all these things. But she feels guilty for feeling the way she's feeling, which is not even her fault. The other one, which is the fourth one, is anxiety, worrying. And I said that when a woman is pregnant, no matter how much she have in the bank, she'll still be worried. She'll be worrying about how to take care of the baby, the finances and everything. She will worry. And another thing that causes this is finances. If the finances is not well, the woman may get postpartum depression. So let's go to the types of postpartum depression. Okay. Sorry, I have to hold my tripod stand because it's not being stable. It's not sitting well where it should, and it's really making it really difficult for me right now because okay, I think it's better now, right? Okay, let's go here. Let me see. I don't know if you can hear baby Aliona's voice. Okay, I think it's better now. Okay. All right. So women feel guilty, ashamed, and so many other things for feeling the way they are feeling, which is not even their fault. Okay, guys, I think I've lost my microphone. I can't find it. Yeah, someone. I'm fancy her. Hey, something. Something. Aria. Aria. Hey. I don't know if you people can hear me, but I can't find my microphone and I don't know if you can hear it or not. The microphone is right here, but I don't know where I've placed it right now when I got up. Yeah, somehow. Hey, so many. Yeah, we just know me here. No, idea how some. Okay, guys, I found it. Okay. All right. So let's go. Okay, the microphone will go low very, very soon. So let's go to the types of postpartum depression. So postpartum blues, or one is the postpartum blues or baby blues, which is the type of postpartum that affects about 50 to 75% of women. The postpartum blues or the baby blues affect about 50 to 75% of women after birth. And you experience frequent prolonged crying for no apparent reason, like I was saying. Like the person will be crying for no reason. You're messing a Jesus mommy and papa and but the person will be crying for no reason, just crying. Feel like the person just feel like crying for no reason. It is only the part why you may think that the person is struggling with but then you say postpartum depression. It's likely like there's a 99% chance say the person have postpartum depression. The other one is sadness. So the power to the night and around the person will be so sad for no reason. Like the person should be happy. Like after having a child, no, you should be so happy when you see a woman give birth. Just within some few days, you see the person is putting on a whole lot of weight. It's not about eating. It's not about eating, or it's not about the diet. It's the feeling of happiness within you. And no, Emma, we need to make with me. That's how it should be after birth. But where there is, it's not the way you're feeling. You're feeling sad for no good reason. You're just feeling sad. This is postpartum depression. And the other one is anxiety, worry. It may be another why you're worried. You are always thinking, you are always worried about so many things. And then I cry, and when he say we are worried about and why you're worried, is a sign of postpartum depression after birth, because after birth, and also we need you. And I'm going to talk about a worry, could be about finances. It's a it's in my oh yes so worried. Nothing. wabenya postpartum depression but nyame ada room me ma wo for but me money na we pane awa me wo ya me ye financially stable just saying cause manage but no, I got postpartum depression and it's not even about the one I got is postpartum psychosis, which we will dive into it very, very soon. Postpartum psychosis, which is the most severe one. Into the now we are talking about the baby blues or the postpartum blues. So now let's it typically begins the first week you give birth to a baby. This experience can be unpleasant. The baby blues or the postpartum blues can be very unpleasant, but thankfully it subsides in few weeks without any medical treatment. After feeling the baby blues or the postpartum blues, it will subside, it will go down, it will slow down within few weeks without any medical treatment. So this one is very normal. It happens. The baby blues, some women even experience the baby blues during pregnancy and it subsides after pregnancy. And like it's saying that you don't need any medical treatment to be able to get rid of the baby blues. It will go eventually and it goes gradually within 2 weeks. Ask for support from loved ones if you can. If you are going through this baby blues or postpartum blues, the symptoms that I mentioned, then please ask for support from your loved ones, people you love, people you trust, people you know that if you ask for support they'll be able to support you. Ask for support from them. Now the second one is the second type of postpartum depression is postpartum psychosis, which is the one that I experienced. I don't know, before we go to the second one, the postpartum psychosis, I don't know if this was postpartum psychosis. In Ghana here, if someone is going through this, we say it's spiritual. But a idea akoswe free yena nan council amo breso abesi sabrin. Anka sabrin and ka ye treaty and I say finding solution enka esubeti. But because say we see it as spiritual, ni esafan say e akwadro. So baby won't so if a woman give birth and she's going through this any panel or society be to say Ghana and South Africa, people perceive it as laziness or spiritual issues. Because if you feel mommy be yo, or papa be yo, or swa be yo, or nana be yo. Say ekobasana, there will not be any solution. Both enough any panel, a hand sa go say, or beat me who say bones with Janet Banabo. People don't understand. Someone can die right now and die, and people will not understand. But the person may be going through this, but because it was not diagnosed, it was not there was no solution. The person will die with yes, still away. Then I know I will be behind them, maybe and be behind. Now any panel free. Yes, say must na hwan na ona na yo na so na yo na ofa na yo na papa na yo. But if there was a solution, this wouldn't have happened. So the postpartum psychosis, I'm going to tell you what I myself felt. When I gave birth, like my husband got his visa when I was pregnant, but he prolonged it because I was pregnant. So after I gave birth, 3 months, my husband left for Canada. And when my husband left, I felt some emptiness in my life. I felt some emptiness in the house, especially when my kids go to school. I felt so alone. I felt like the house was not functioning the way it used to. I felt like everything in this house have changed. Like, that kind of emptiness. Like my husband have a special way of always coming home when he closed from work. And we were used to it. And he have a name. He call me anytime he return from work. He call me Davy, and I also respond Ifo. So like all those things, I was not seeing those things again. I was not hearing those things again. It felt really different. Like everything was different. Everything changed. I felt so alone. I felt so different. I felt some emptiness in my life. So like everything was not functioning the way it was. So the only thing I wanted to do was to sleep. In the morning when I get my kids to go to school, the next thing is I'll sleep with the baby. Sometimes the baby will wake up and the baby will be crying, playing, and I'll be deeply asleep. And when I see the baby is crying severely, then I'll wake up and I'll breastfeed the baby and I'll go back to sleep again. And then my husband will call. He'll be doing video or have you eaten? Sometimes at 3 p.m. we'll be on breastfeeding. Now I've not eaten at 3 p.m. I have not eaten for the whole day. And my husband will be asking you, have you eaten? I didn't feel, it's not like I didn't feel hungry. I didn't feel like eating. I didn't feel anything at all. I didn't feel like eating. I didn't feel like a condiment. And I need to eat to be able to breastfeed my baby because I was doing exclusive breastfeeding. So I needed to sleep. And people will be asking, say, why didn't you ask for help? The truth is, this is my fourth baby. And anytime I give birth, there are so many things. Where's he say? Where's waiting me? Where's wakame? Where's ubanomanu koko? Where's ubani any say? Me na ma wono. Me na manya 9 months na ma wo me ba. Na mpesa me exclusive breastfeeding. I'm going to go school. I'll pesa exclusive breastfeeding. But there's nothing wrong with exclusive breastfeeding. Crime being name say obey your back exclusive breastfeeding. As a matter of fact, Oko Hospital, doctors are advising people to do exclusive breastfeeding because it helps with your baby's cognitive development. And Sansu Emma, Obana, and yet to say a being not and cognitive development. As such as a name of a brain, a society brain, as a class save money. Exclusive breastfeeding, as I save money. And it's my decision. And me will be answered there's a problem with that. And like I said, married from different tribes, Ghana have enye easy. Obi a wonya me experience no the auntie ase ba me na me nim de me mafem amenemu. Enti me and my husband made a decision say won na ye wo. Ye nkwan be hwa akranya afi no beka say wo ye ko ma me ho no wa ma me ho. Me mpesa. Me mpe problem be am peace of mind because we said the area see kon already life no is see the way the world is going, the way Africa is going, the way Ghana kasano is see corner obia sorry our dream the obedi ho eni na sundri eno an obi ehwe no life na obi also no the echo na onya hu se bibi se na ekoso wi ase na afi na wetin waka we waka me wetin me why you say and to avoid all those things now I decided to be with my husband and that was the decision. So when my husband left to Canada, it wasn't easy for me. It took me a while to be able to adjust to the idea that I'm now with the kids. My husband is a bit far from where we are now. And it was really very difficult to adjust to it. And as Sanima, we never cast a spiritual, but seriously, it's a psychological issue. Postpartum depression is very psychological. So let's go to the postpartum psychosis. The reason why I'm explaining this is because and conconsebia koswa mate behind my back. The Nipano went that far to the extent say or could be on YouTube honum echo say metre and I go on in Ninkuma funny when you're free. Facho asum drinty. Peace is very, very, very valuable. And a piece is very, very expensive. It is a Venice I didn't win a mammy piece and I'm here. There may be a woman peace and I'm here. Right. So let's go to postpartum psychosis. And this is what I have recently experienced, the postpartum psychosis. Let's go to it. This is an extremely severe form of postpartum depression, very severe form of postpartum depression and requires immediate medical attention or intervention. So we postpartum psychosis mona se wa anya ne ntama anko hospital na outlet na wa very. If you know someone who have experienced the things I'm going to mention, signs of postpartum psychosis, don't sit down, take them to hospital. Though the doctors may not be able to detect say a postpartum psychosis medically your lab and trial scan and acid visa maybe will not be able to detect his postpartum psychosis, but if you tell them the symptoms up a drew at the amount, they'll be able to know through your symptoms. So when you go to the hospital, be honest with the doctors, tell them exactly how you're feeling, and they'll be able to give you medications for this. So let's go to this condition or symptoms generally occur quickly after birth and is very severe. It lasts from weeks to months. This form of postpartum is very rare. Sorry. This form of postpartum depression, baby, I'm attending to. Baby, I'm attending so how soon I hire quite kakra. This form of postpartum is very real. Real nature say, and it's not common because it happens to 1% out of 1,000 people. So let's go to the symptoms of postpartum psychosis. 1 is hallucination. 2 is paranoia. 3 is hyperactivity. 4 is rapid speech or mania. 5 is confusion. 6 is insomnia. 7 is severe agitation. 8 is confusion. And 9 is feelings of hopelessness and shame. So if you have someone who is going through this, or if you are going through this after birth, you may be going through postpartum psychosis, and you should immediately go to the hospital. You can talk to your doctor. You can even talk to the pediatrician of your baby. You can say all these things you're going through to the pediatrician, and they may be able to give you medication. They may be able to access and give you medication. You shouldn't talk to someone who cannot give you help. And I don't go and talk to any gossiper to go and gossip. Talk to someone who can give you solution. Talk to someone who may be able to help you, and you can talk to your doctor. Believe me, you can trust your doctor, because your doctor will not go out and tell anyone about. No professional doctor will discuss a patient's record or something with someone else unless it's necessary. And to talk to your doctor, the doctor will be able to help you with this. And can't concern be a man for us and cotton upon me. A being so not concerning city or no see who near sanity. A be a medical issue. To postpartum psychosis, it happens in Ghana and in Africa here. In Ghana, country concerning be a sass may say, the person will not be able to help you. And the person may go and say it's in a different way because I'm afraid that your condition will be worse, because you might think it's a spiritual issue, but then it's not a spiritual issue, it's a psychological issue. So this requires immediate attention, since there is an increased risk of suicide and risk of harm to the baby. But thankfully to God, none of this ever came to my mind. I never had any intention. I never had any idea of killing my baby or anything of that sort. The only thing I felt was the emptiness. And since there is this requires immediate attention, since there is an increased risk of suicide and risk of harm to the baby. People with these symptoms should be hospitalized, should be given psychotherapy and medication. You can speak with a therapist. Now, people don't trust therapists that because they think, no therapist will go out and share any conversation they've had with you with someone else. It's illegal unless it is necessary. When I say it's necessary, like there is an investigation, there is an investigation going on that they need that kind of record or conversation that you've had with that particular patient, the therapist may need to give that information out. Or there is an emergency, or the person is even talking to a relative that they need that particular information to be able to help you with something, then the therapist will be able to give that information out. But aside from that, no therapist will go out and say a conversation they had with a patient or give an information about a patient. No, they will never do that. So you can speak with a therapist, you can trust your therapist, you can share what you are going through with your therapist. And this form of postpartum usually affects 1 in 1,000 people. I already said that. Now let's go to the third one, which is postpartum depression. Now this form of postpartum is far more less serious than Now this form of postpartum is far more serious than baby blues. This form of postpartum, which is the postpartum depression itself, is far more serious than baby blues. Baby blues is not that serious. This form of postpartum is far more serious than baby blues. Sorry, hold on. It affects about 1 in 7 new mothers. This kind of postpartum this postpartum depression affects about 1 in 7 new mothers. If you are a woman who have had postpartum depression before, you are at a risk of 30% in each pregnancy. Like if you've experienced postpartum depression before, like myself, then you have a 30% chances of also getting a postpartum depression after you give birth again. So I have experienced it before, so this was really not strange, but this time I experienced postpartum psychosis, which is much more severe than what I've experienced before. So one symptoms of postpartum depression are fatigue. The second one is irritability, feeling irritated for everything, like feeling irritated about everything at all. And as our Ghana had any more, any everyday be to you get irritated about everything. But a postpartum depression. The other one is frequent crying. It's also postpartum depression. The fourth one is feelings of guilt. Like I said, you may feel guilty for feeling the way you're feeling, even if it's not your fault. You may feel guilty about it. It's also postpartum depression. The other one is anxiety, feeling worried for nothing. It's postpartum depression. The other one is inability to care for your baby, not feeling the need to care for your baby. As a postpartum depression. Frequent crying, and maybe you are always crying for no reason. It's postpartum depression. So if you experience any of this after birth, you may be going to postpartum depression and you need to go to the hospital. They may be able to assess and give you medication for this. So the symptoms may be mild at first, then it turns very severe and may appear within a week after you give birth or after childbirth. So the symptoms comes in a gradual process. These symptoms comes gradually. It comes gradually and then it becomes very severe. These symptoms can last for several months to years, but can be treated with antidepressant and psychotherapy, which is very effective. You can treat this with antidepressant and also psychotherapy. And if you experience this postpartum depression, don't sit down and say, "Oh, nana be yo, oh, papa be yo, oh, swear be yo, oh, mommy be yo, oh, be yo, be yo." Go to the hospital. They may be able to assess this and give antidepressants or psychotherapy, which is very effective to treat this. Next, if you don't treat it, it may last for months and even years. It's a better one maybe not because why depressed. So you need to find solution immediately you go through this. And if you have a loved one who have also gone through this, please take them to hospital to be assessed and given medication. So now let's go to the people who can be affected by postpartum depression. And who can be affected by postpartum depression? About 75% of people stand the chance of experiencing baby blues after childbirth, and 15% develop postpartum depression. The baby blues is not serious. It's mild, but then it can turn very serious. The baby blues is not that serious, but then it can turn very serious after some time. Sorry. Osana. And is she crying?
Just what
Okay. If she cried, then you bring her. So, as I was saying, sorry, the postpartum blues is very mild, but if care is not taken and if it's not treated, it can get severe and then becomes postpartum depression or postpartum psychosis. So, these are the people who stand the chances of getting postpartum depression. Number one is please hold on. Do you want me to train my mixing up? So sorry, the people who stand a chance of getting postpartum depression about 75% people stand a chance of experiencing postpartum depression or baby blues, after childbirth, and about 75% people stand a chance of getting baby blues after childbirth and 15% develop postpartum depression, whilst 1% out of 1,000 people experience postpartum psychosis. Now let's go to how to know you have postpartum depression. And this is the most difficult part because people experiencing postpartum depression are in denial. They don't accept the fact that they have postpartum depression. They are in denial. So it's very difficult to know when you are experiencing this. Maybe someone close to you may be able to notice that. So how to know you have postpartum depression? Number one is you feel overwhelmed. Just say, as a nema abro so you feel overwhelmed. This can be a sign you are having postpartum depression. Number two is loss of appetite. That was something I was going to it wasn't even loss of appetite. I didn't feel like eating. Now common loss of appetite is postpartum depression. Go fridge maybe I say I couldn't eat it. My couldn't drive a good fridge means midi. Just I mean need energy. And quiet chef fridge me man no aduane no I only cook for my kids. I didn't feel the need to eat because I didn't feel hungry. Depression, postpartum depression. Number three is sudden mood changes. As in maybe do maybe when you do maybe a wolf, something like that. And the fourth one is you have crying spells. As a sarcastic crying spell on you, maybe I know maybe I know any day I didn't experience it. Trouble sleeping. I was experiencing this trouble sleeping. I had a hard time sleeping. It ran a dynamic honum. Now my high many say like I feel like I should stay up and protect my kids because I feel like someone will come and steal them. Not just say enema I went through during my pregnancy and birth, no, it was affecting me. When my husband was here, it was not affecting me because I was okay. But when my husband left, no, that was when all those things were affecting me. And this happened during my pregnancy. When I was pregnant, no, the first time I went to the hospital to do a scan to know whether I'm pregnant or not. When I went, I spoke with this doctor. His name is Dr. Sebe. And then I told him that I feel so bloated. I feel like I've been pregnant for so long, although it was an early pregnancy. When I did a scan, they couldn't even tell how far I was because it was an early pregnancy. But that time, I felt so bloated. I felt so heavy. Like when my elder daughter returned from school and she told me that my belly looks so big, and it was true. I look so big, like I've been pregnant for about 3 months. My belly looks so big and tight. So when I went to the hospital, I told the doctor about that. So the doctor told me that there was this specialist there and he was in the theater. So he's going to tell him how I'm feeling. And when the specialist nearby, when the doctor was talking to him about me, the specialist no me so no me from and Nina no the shame na enye. It's that and I had a feelings, does this doctor know me somewhere or do we have a problem with me? But I took it normal because to me I felt like he just returned from theater and I heard him say theater so mo come koye e be a C-section and I say okoye surgery be and I say beside me dem say ebia anything man feeling like that until I took it normal. And a doctor said, "Be a trade drug. A man starting mammy drug. Catching some is an early pregnancy. Mammy drug. I'm start seminar." Until when I think I was about 6 to 7 months, I started bleeding. You call a little vacation. That was during the Christmas season. Until you call a little vacation, I say, "Me co bleed. I hold na I call hospital. Na doctor and catch me say, "Mammy call long journey. Fine." Until mammy call long journey no. And on my medication, by a bear fear no, a jail, your bear fear that the particular night must have bleed this and the next day no, you didn't man call square near call hospital around bear 9 to 10 in one. Tia quaint specialist no sour theatre. It's the entrano. Miss Minimi couldn't snap till 5 p.m. to wait for the specialist. So bear about bear 5 and nurse may be so specialist. They said they were on office in Tianco. When we went to the office, seriously. When we got there, near Snaston, na doctor ne cars biana a sex and at this side air courses and I'm semi crown. Me yano crown. Me, I'm not having any sexual intercourse with my husband. That's it. That's what I told the doctor. Me name send a share before dear. Say be a casana me casana. I didn't say yes. What I told the doctor said, and I was telling him the truth. My husband was right beside me. I was saying the truth. Said, one said, sometimes when you're pregnant, every pregnancy difference, you don't even feel the need to have sex with your husband. That's how I was feeling because I was going through morning sickness. I didn't feel the need to do that until I'm not even having sexual intercourse with my husband as I'm talking to you right now because it's not I didn't feel the need to do that. But when I said that, I think I don't know if the doctor was offended that I told him that it can't be sex because I'm not having sex with my husband right now because of money sickness and all that. The doctor will show me or the need show me or small sorry quite. And I'm making a sign to won't share was there more sorry corner. Some man I wore home some be have a mama hospital. Into that time, marginal consultant, that alone shows that the doctor knows me and he have been watching my YouTube channel, but marginal consultant. And this is a doctor, me a one man, I'm a woman. We have recommended so many people to this particular doctor. Even if some couples are having problems getting pregnant, we recommend them to the hospital. And then we even tell them that when you go, say you're looking for this particular doctor. No, he said this doctor knows me and he have a personal issue with me. And who said there was this lady who was living in this house. This woman came here with very bad intention. Her name is Yvonne Sensuamai. We free her other tenants bars. This woman, when she came to live in this house, she told me that she worked at this particular hospital. Though send me hospital, and I mean who so a nurse knew, but also that's where she was working. It's a nuclear ring bell said, then this it could be said this doctor grandpa himself woman. So call a man better now. But me no marginal cosums a. This doctor have a personal issue with it by a being swap. Ain't or can't say in coffee, no. And so wow. And a nurse, you know, dear command. Nurse nearly feel so bad, or feel bad pants. Nurse, you're going to know I pass, I know dear command Dr. Sebe. Not Dr. Sebe sharing. No catcher say next time. Oh, yeah, me Dr. Sebe will be some say. Na a bass, no. What they call hospital for man can't say. Man can't quite say, make one person who say convocation, me couldn't catch and say convocation. El pediatric. And now, me couldn't. Then my husband, he told us that next time when you have such issues, come to the hospital early. Not, but he didn't know that I've already gone to a hospital. They gave me medication. I will try a later. But I didn't tell the doctor. That's the mistake I made. I saw now. Was sharing. My drew. I drew me Benno Yan try. And no name it didn't end there. The ticket my echo. Now my video be sat and I feel a video no viral. Respect for women. Women been out. I just recently deleted that video. The woman had triplets. Now I see a mutilated video came last week or so since this week you. That's it. That video that time I go viral. I know I started commenting. I wish you die. I wish your baby die. I wish your baby gets autism. I wish you and the baby die. I wish you bleed forever. And I'm just then I say they will say every say Obia name semi bleed. baby, I'm called hospital, baby, I call vacation, I call hospital, the doctor doesn't know me. We need me that. Who me that so? And call no cry, never comment, if you cry, go 2 weeks in the and comment. Now, fade your comments, the bar, never, I wish you die, I wish your baby gets autism, I wish your baby die, I wish you bleed forever, I wish you get postpartum, and any now, Kaya, men Canada. It's your baby, and I'm the actually making and yes, she couldn't so many times from Macasavia or stop me name your names and me bleed. And now, doctor, and so already who's in bleed, not meaning send your doctor, and Benson, fine. And I'm I feel they not cost every day bias comments ne basa and I'm appointment so yes me sa hospital hope you it make one am share doctor ya or ka say yenko fear make say on one and say comment is I wish you die in one me go do hospital and share no entrance one say I met the doctor one like this me share no one so na ni bi o sa de share me okura maternity one baby man one now crack or fat gate be what a chihuahua could rim. Mechia no one is in any view of the chairman. And I'm a tear say, and a bad doctor every say. When a demon who said the oil a personal. And if you have a personal, I don't have any problem with this doctor. Just say, my recommended my husband, I recommended you probably brought a some bit to the dance say, yeah, soon to no more hospital honum. I just say, many doctor need issue, so on any issue. Me say when I greet him one-on-one, where the car make us say be our number, baby. Now make us say be our anti voice. The make us say near one anti make us in some channel one is no. Where the one-on-one, me when one should me channel. Why am say chill no cool rahon. Bema or who about your chill. On side moony power mu emma. And I'm saying every day who emma hunting or mu emma. We did or show me no call ye. Who could run maternity ward on one so. At 12 sad 3 times me channel one is no who said any personal. Or personal issue maybe as say me now may or no down hustle to me them to madam hospital area me who be man me twa me hwe any no so call baby o hu ya no say the BP because no be afu no call baby no small from baby na me this sad na me time so ebeka be 2 weeks be amawo na e me quantinator na say doctor say echo leave. When I heard that the doctor who had been taking care of me was on leave, I told my husband to look for a different hospital for me to give birth because when you say doctors or more hospital more jia one me it is a doctor seven could leave there. Now say this particular doctor in a at times to send me way because one him I want to know. So I told my husband for us to start looking for a different hospital to give birth. That time now I've already bought things in a nearby mother care shop say when I'm the baby. But then I say even if the Sunday man at all the mother care shop on the man ko jekra ehame they hear say mengu or hospital on as far as Dr. Sebeni one the mengu enti I went to antenatal me call na doctor yes say yeah jima to fine after the doctor number say obey me yes and I'm saying yes na me time no kraka be 2 weeks it would say me kofia said there are so many natural ways to induce labor say me kone say awona kame dia necessary now also me dey fine me na sometimes didn't na me ka say na say na person be na ko different hospital na ka CS on be my no different hospital I'm sitting me down and find me that. And then the doctor na make us say me bleed no ka say yen kono yen sorry free one kono say do see yen say mo sorry free one kono ye sorry free okwa na obi hwe me a time aso say mba be won ono asa frame me osian wo YouTube channel me ka say me send kwa me send me gunu sesia like say the wo sika sana nanka obi anka critical say anka e ba be me CS wo say me condition e critical e be me CS na kasa brain kameno me yam hihimi o anka wo say encouraging words na ka chem what's up just all ka say ogu me YouTube channel kwa be gunu sesia na fe waka story bi say ma me bi ka so me CS ma me na ma me ye oni ni kuno mo so wo me yasa say dem so wo me yasa no ma me na me CS no na oni ni kuro twentwen say so mba ya wo ye na ma me ne akra ni na ewu ye afi na me BP cost to say a cost I can see say tiny BP in the cost not doctor is in the seriously. One for psychologist study in 20 so when the facial expression in the same BP air cost maker. None in the said he was so excited that my BP was going up because they know when ya baby I know that time I was so vulnerable. You know when you're pregnant, you are very vulnerable. A woman who, especially during the day of delivery, no, a woman, that's the psychological aspect of pregnancy. A true time now, or ban over one now, especially when I'm put the cry. Now, strong for can once and I am to show what will bear 1,000 3 times of the one. Now I am show you are very vulnerable at that stage, and you are also in fear. Now, we can say same way, we scenario of a woman. We in tears on any bay in a year. I will jam the mammy and sound said, Miss Mau, me and son of Ewa. Now, I catch him so cast will be YouTube channel, no problem. It's me going to say, yeah. Not just a whoop per se. We yet a dear, a bemma come across through. Me BP back through. Nanka critical GGDS, sister, and any CS were woo. Nank when near G. Now, sir, I know did no one me. Nank wash your ma. Now me de me wedge a me maho. Now when near GS, doctor, do I add ain't me only me have a start conversation. Me heard your condoms no, now me recording. Now I feel also suspect me recording. Now I feel I jam my phone. Now when you want the crime they recorded. You want to say me so. And now the why it's now my say trust me and trust no. It's a bad sign. Now I know say was started so cancer. I'm I know I need to do something. After no I jam my phone. So my first and then I no phone so. Or person of me record. I'm sick. I deal with cause now next for be 8 since 6 and age 9 change. And some okay normal TV. 18 I me call room now. Now me that private room. Me call when I'm friend my husband. I'm catching but me can say that time no me catching my husband say but much why I even see some husband say me man post call don't call me mother me sister in law's home. 18 me walk on the man I'm friend me can say anything a doctor ne kana ama me BP cost through kwana cost na me hwen so a me hwen facial expression so I'm Tuesday na age. And at that time now me make us me husband call me na me bleed ya o ka say sorry free hon kono. It's now saying na who's a doctor and he have a problem, personal problem. Minim some aquagen in Pinabio, some agin na mentia, some medidin at tembo, some cassette and I don't know. Ain't a bass and my husband senior or Beppa was this year, and I'm so bad. Your back can be a catcher and say no, or refer you to a different hospital. Your back can be a mentie. Tell him to refer us to a different hospital. Say basis yes the bay and say a different hospital. Me think a doctor say ben one can make yes. But aside from him no, and as a different doctor now aside from him as experience now I've had with this doctor, I can't let him do the CS. It's on my uncle different hospital. Hospital that's on my yard pa. Me see me kuno I refer ni pa be break on e ho na me wo me third born who is a boy. That's why I gave birth to my third born. Ain't Sana, I don't refer to a different hospital. Now, me call some baby CS. Me opportunity me. So when my husband came, we slept that night. And I did change. The doctor I could yes come or send ban umbilical cord. One want to in the corner. One. You know, okay, we are my husband no refer us to a different hospital. Near call for lunch. The call and a doctor. Me call and I'm at one. Now there was a lady sitting beside me. Na doctor you be share me ya do catch him say me 4 centimeters dilated or predicted and me 1 pound me all that time. When I was sitting there, the lady sitting beside me, her she's not married, her boyfriend called her. Na was also by antenatal so they say be CS. Na the way a doctor ni sifa can as a natural system. CS no when a woman hears yes they get really panic. If you know Reza and Kwan, I watched their channel. I remember when Reza was going to do the CS. When you watch the video, you can see that she and her boyfriend they were both in panic. When you tell a woman about CS, I am sure, but they will be canon. It's me ma any panel. When you reach a movie, say any power area. Aside from God, nipa bako when you done supply a doctor and say doctor no, I can't send a bua bema. It's me come over once. So when the doctor, the way the doctor explained to the woman why they should do her the CS, no. One sister na come at me. Now if you are friend, boyfriend, say doctor no so be ni CS. After you could machines, oh, are they na? Sisters, oh, and yes, be my yam show. Na me kwa the doctor na see a catch me kwa no. Ama hame be be okay. I'm pana sana ko change no no okoti ata me hu say anche ya ko ni CS na wi. They me see me to say na doctor ni need nkomo. They was can 7 natural sister no. Me to akwa na face yes no kwa na bisu na me na hihim kwa na face cough because me hu say the doctor say church sister calmly and gently na say sister no why very calm. after the friend boyfriend says even a CS or Debbie, the boyfriend ashin was no, don't panic and yet a oh. But wait dear, me who listen or yet edia me ama me mash nanka be because yes a critical sister no with me home yes boom well never jam mammy and son no be yanka. And what train after the baby a Marco school, but them in school about them so a confirm me say or no any doctor. So my work against me YouTube channel check. And I'm who say I feel that Martin never be brass saying I'm sarcastic sister be not here or 2 year or buy no so yet was our hospital. I'm say we could not doctor equal as man with ya so metina. Ain't never be breaking carbon and who's and I said, then your crap. Ain't in your make and they give me free honey. I'm in a man call hospital for call. And then there are there some balance in your mother or Bianian. The Bianian. Na sa postpartum psychosis na me problem say eh hu masema enko ni patro so in trillion force don baby hu omano da me nyame ti omo ka ode omo yin na ho enko mo so in trillion force de onim hu bibia no enko no so. So when you go through any of the symptoms or the signs I mentioned, feel free to share your symptoms with your healthcare provider. They can assess and give you treatment for your symptoms. Remember that having a baby is a life-changing experience which comes with hormonal changes and other physical and psychological changes. Do not be ashamed to share your symptoms. If you experience any of the symptoms that I just mentioned here, talk to your doctor, your healthcare provider, your therapist. They will be able to assess this and give you medications. And note this, having a baby comes with a lot of hormonal changes and psychological and physical changes. Do not be ashamed of any of these symptoms, and do not be ashamed to share your symptoms with a doctor, a therapist, or even your baby's pediatrician. I'll end this part here, and the next part we are going to talk about symptoms and causes of postpartum depression. So I'm going to find food for my kids and maybe we'll go back live later or maybe tomorrow. So we'll end it here. The next one we are going to talk about the symptoms and the causes of postpartum depression and how we can prevent it. So thank you guys so much for watching me, and thank you for always sticking around with your girl. I love you all so much, and I'll see you again in another one. But until then, bye.